with items 2 and 3. We can take 2 and 3 together. It's cool. 2 and 3 together. We have those were pulled by Councilmember Cole, but they weren't.
Mayor, I believe they were pulled for speakers, but Councilmember Cole asked for a point of personal privilege for me to convey to you that she would like to speak on the items. I believe she's not here yet.
She personally conveyed to me that that request was overcome by events, that she no longer desired to do it. So we'll go ahead and proceed with the item and go to our speakers. And again, we're talking about speakers on 2 and 3 together. And the first speaker is Clay Dafoe.
Item 2, Mr. Mayor?
2 and 3 together.
2 and 3 together. Thank you.
But you only get 3 minutes.
I rise in opposition to item 2 and 3. Basically, why are we doing a contract for 25 years? The Austin Energy Generation Plan says that we're reaching a goal by 2011. Related, I'd like to say I believe my rights were violated on item 70, Barn Springs Pool, a non-consent item. I was trying to speak. And I confirmed with the clerk I was signed up to speak. Then I was told I was not allowed to speak. I'm not liking the reasons. Last week, Mr. Mayor, you'll see this up there. It's underlined. He says, again, this rule does not apply to items that are pulled from the consent agenda by council members. So he's violated that. We'll say, let's look at what else he said. You will only be able to speak on the first 3 items that you've signed up. Now, I know there's more there, but he's not saying it here technically, but he's implying that there's a maximum of 3 items you can speak on. Let's go to that first statute I've got you on, citizen participation.
You want to speak on the topic of items 2 and 3?
Yes, I'm against items 2 and 3. I think they're a terrible idea, Mr. Mayor. Why are we paying Duke Energy 2.5 times as much money, $830 million for 25 years? This is absurd. We're paying them 2.5 times as much as we're paying the company from California, MAP Royalty. Please show the citizen participation, please. It says, except as provided in section 2529, which I'd be happy to go with you. Presiding officer should not refuse permission for someone to speak.
If you want to speak on 2 and 3, that's what we're discussing right now.
Yes, sir.
This is not general citizens communications. You have to stick to your topic.
Yes, sir. So back to items 2 and 3. Back to items 2 and 3. As I was saying, this is a terrible idea. Why are you giving contracts for 25 years? I believe a council member's term and the mayor's term lasts for 3 years. So why are you doing a contract for 25? Let's do a contract for 5 years. I'm all for wind energy, folks. I like wind energy. Let's meet the Austin Energy Generation Plan goal by 2021. But I do not think we should be handing out a contract for up to 25 years, $800 million, almost $1 billion. We need all of our citizens out here calling out items 2 and 3. I think it's wrong to do a contract for that long. I've talked to attorneys and they say 25-year contract. I mean, the only thing you usually see for that is mortgages. And you never see it usually in city government level. So this is a contract you're about to sign and give away all this money, and we will not have a say. There may be some extension clause. I do not have time to look into every single detail, the way I'm being shoved around and my rights being violated at this council. But I will say that we do not need item 2 and 3. And do I have donated time on this item, Mr. Mayor?
No, you do not.
Thank you. Please vote no.
Ronnie Jimry.
He was escorted out by the police earlier.
Heather Fazio. And Mr. Bush, I'm going to ask you to remain quiet from the gallery. And anyone else that might wish to make comments from the gallery, that's not appropriate. So Heather Fazio. Is Heather Fazio here? Karen Haddon. Karen Haddon. Karen is signed up for. Previous speakers were all signed up against. Tom Smith. Tom Smith is signed up for. Trey Salinas is for if there are questions, and Cyrus Reed signed up for, not wishing to speak. I'm going to cross-check item number 3 to make sure there was no one else. Signed item. Again, Cyrus Reed. So those are all the speakers that we have on items 2 and 3 together. Councilmember Martinez moves to approve items 2 and 3. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Spellman. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Councilmember Spellman.
I'd like to ask somebody from city staff just a couple questions, if I could.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm Cheryl Mealy, Deputy General Manager.
Hi, Cheryl. Thank you.
Hi.
Mr. Dafoe just asked a good question. Why are we talking about a 25-year contract here?
Well, these contracts are for 25 years because these are long-term assets. Actually, locking these contracts in for 25 years at a fixed cost is going to be a great advantage to our customers.
At fixed cost, now what does that mean? Is there a price escalator in this, or is it actually
No, there
fixed?
is not. This is a fixed cost.
And what is that cost?
That cost is something between, $30 and $50. I think that we haven't issued the exact cost at this time. Let me see what we've got in our reports. We've provided a range on that. Typically, we're not going to provide the absolute cost.
Sure. So it's somewhere between $30 and $50 per megawatt hour.
Yes.
Which is somewhere between 3 and 5 cents a kilowatt hour.
That's right, which is competitive with natural gas today.
Okay.
But natural gas is not fixed, of course, and we know that there's volatility and risk with the natural gas in the future.
Sure. What roughly has happened to natural gas prices over the last 10 years?
Well, we've been on a wild ride over the last 10 years. We've got current prices down around $4, sometimes less. We've got a forecast $4 to $6 out into the future. But as recently as 2008, we were seeing prices in the 10, 12, at moments $14 range.
So there's a dramatic volatility in natural gas prices, but these
Absolutely.
prices here would be fixed.
That's right.
At somewhere between 3 and 5 cents a kilowatt hour for the next 25 years.
Yes, sir.
And that would not go up with inflation.
That's right. No
Okay.
escalation in this contract.
Okay. Why can't, I'm given to understand that we could not authorize negotiation and execution of these contracts today. Why is that?
We actually adopted a process in our competitive matters resolution which spoke to the fact that we'd like council to see a purchase for over 10 megawatts 2 times.
Yes.
So we are bringing this forward for a discussion item and public comment today, and we'll take future action to approve it.
Okay. At what point, now I understand that when these were set out, when the RFP was set out, when the 2 contracts were chosen, that the utility established a letter of intent with the 2 winning bidders. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And we need to take action and execute these contracts before the letters of intent expire.
Yes, we've got letters of intent through the middle of September, although we have had conversations with both parties about the fact that we may need a little bit more time than that. And I
Okay.
think as long as we are in the September timeframe, the parties are continuing to discuss that with us.
Okay.
We can't go into October. That would be a more difficult challenge, I think.
Briefly, why is October a danger zone?
Well, these are projects to be constructed, and
Okay.
we also have federal production tax credits. And as of today, those tax credits would expire at the end of 2012. And so to construct a project, get materials on order and delivered to the site, it's important to them that they have certainty on whether they have a contract so that they can proceed.
Gotcha. So they can't even get started in building these things until they've got a contract with us.
Absolutely.
Okay. And currently, the letters of intent are scheduled to expire sometime in the middle of September.
Right.
Okay.
September 15th is our current date.
Okay. So that sounds as though we ought to try and execute these contracts before the 15th if we can find a way to do that.
Well, We do have, as I said, we kind of feel that we've got some verbal commitments by the parties that we're negotiating with, in discussion with, as to the proposals, that the September 22nd date will work, but sooner is, certainty is always a good thing.
I understand that. I understand we do not have a regularly scheduled council meeting until the 22nd, however.
That's right.
Is there in our policy, which requires 2 looks at any large power contract, is there a requirement that either or both of those looks have to be at regularly scheduled council meetings, or could they be at special called meetings or at meetings called for some other purpose?
My belief, I don't know if Karen would like to offer any comments on that. This was a resolution adopted by City Council, so it certainly is, council resolutions can always be amended by council.
Well, my understanding is that September 22nd was the recommended date by staff to come back. Is that correct?
Based on the fact that this was a scheduled council date, that's right. That's the only